Hi. Hello. You may notice from the date of the stream that it is not the traditional schedule and is instead a Wednesday. This may come as a surprise to you. It also came as a surprise to me. I was not planning on streaming, but situations have arisen. You may see me here. I am in a cave. I was doing a little bit of my traditional off-stream mining, which is something people do occasionally. It's almost even a joke where you're just like, oh, I do a little bit of off-screen mining, and then you're like suddenly rich, like a critical important time skip happens. But that's not what's important. What's important was I was doing my mission, which was my current project, which was to get the pyrolysis oven so I can get coal, not coal tar, but wood gas, so I could get ethylene, so I could get polyethylene, so I could do cool plastic stuff and cool stuff with cool plastics. So I, on my adventures, explored east and found some mica finally, which is an ingredient we need. There's some here, there's some here, there's some here, there's some here. All over. I just did like a journey in a straight line, found some dungeons, visited some other dungeons that I knew about in the past in the ice, and solved them. It was just memory. You didn't miss much. I just sort of pressed the buttons and did reasonably okay. About as good as Quint did, but not as like phenomenally amazing on the high end. But I never lost accidentally at like 3 lights in. So, it balances out. So I decided during today I was going to do some off-screen mining to get some mica so we could build the coils and get the pyrolyzed oven. And in the course of my adventures, I accidentally discovered the stronghold. It's just here. I dug down to get to the mica ore, and the stronghold's just here. Now, in a normal Minecraft situation, this means that I've discovered the location of the end game without actually using the intended method, which is funny to me. I don't know what's in a Greg Tech New Horizons stronghold, what's different, what's the same, if anything. So I decided I would just be available to get here and start a stream so that we could explore this together. And it'd be nice and cool. So we're going to see if there's anything new here. If this turns out to be cool and exciting, then it will be cool and exciting. If not, then I still got the mica. I can go do the mica thing. Work on the pyrolysis oven. And show you a little bit of the base, which I've made some noticeable improvements to. For the time being, though, I am in danger. And I will continue to be in danger for the foreseeable future, given the violence going up. Okay, I'm not going in there. Have a nice day. It definitely seems... Oh, nope. Nope, nope, nope. You're phasing through the door. That is illegal. Be advised, you are committing crimes. Okay, I'm not going in there either. You know what? Maybe we could just take a different path entirely. Find another way out to cool new locations. There's an abandoned mine shaft here, in addition to everything else that happens to be here. Yeah, this is I'm a little overwhelmed. A little bit. Okay, abandoned mine shaft could be a good source of cracks if we want to do something about that. I have no idea if we want to do something about that. There are enemies abound. Like that one. I'm not going to worry about this. I'm just going to keep going. If we can find the end portal, that'd be cool. What's in here? A knowledge note. I'll take that. And a basic turret base crank, which I will not take. What kind of knowledge does this note have? Okay, I have the knowledge. I don't know what knowledge I've gained, but I've certainly have it. We are currently in a labyrinth of confusion. A maze, effectively, whose secrets and insights are unavailable to us. There's this room here, which still has like every single enemy known to mankind, despite being a black room, whose contents I have absolutely no idea about and don't want to because I'm nervous. So let's just go this way, you know? Okay, yeah, here's where I discovered it. This is my tunnel to the surface. I was digging down and I hit this and I realized I had something important on my hands. And now I'm here. Okay, we're going to need to be careful. Make sure I have my hunger, because that's how I heal. Okay, nothing this way. A lot of buttons, a lot of iron doors. Those could theoretically be useful in the base, or just a base, hypothetical base somebody's making that isn't me. All right, a hostile, willing to engage. All right, I won. I'm on fire, but I won. Everyone be careful. And by everyone, I mean me. You don't have to be careful. Is this... Oh, that's funny. The door's on wrong. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. Okay. First order of business, destroy this. Not letting it survive. I've dealt with way too much silverfish for me to respect the existence of this thing. Wait. Better idea. Did not work. Okay. Okay, so there are silverfish in the room. In order to ensure they do not reach me, I am going to destroy the spawner from an altitude. That way they can't attack me while I'm mining this. Naturally, it seems that I need a stronger pickaxe to destroy this at any reasonable speed. But I'll manage. Yep, there's another one. We're about 1/8 of the way there. You can see those little bursts of flame where there are flames outside the cage. That's when they are spawning more silverfish, as it is wont to do. I think like fractions are a pretty good way of dividing like the progress in a thing, especially if it takes a while. Because at like 1%, you're 1/100th of the way through, but at 2%, you're 1/50th of the way through. At like 12.5%, you're 1/8 of the way through. That's really far. And then obviously you can go to like 20%, that's like 1/5 of the way. Then there's 25%, that's 1/4 of the way. And so on and so on. Then you get to 50%, you're halfway done. And it feels like you can almost reverse the process at that point. You can go from 1/5 done to 2/3 done to 3/4 done to 4/5 done. And that's, you know, honestly, in this particular moment, I would really like if we could be done a little faster. The silverfish problem is growing, and I didn't really think this plan through. The moment I destroy this cage, I am falling, I am injured, I am destroyed. I'm kiting them into the lava. Okay, I think most of them are dead. Okay. Not gonna deal with that anymore. I am instead going to hit the beacon button and denote this as the end portal. Save it. We now know where this is, and we can now leave. And you know what? I'm happy to do that. Pleasure doing business with you. I'm not equipped for combat personally. I would say that's a weakness of mine, perhaps. Now to leave. I'm a little worried by the witch voice, but that might just be the Coven witch upstairs, of which there is one. Yes, there you are. Hello. What kind of covens you got? All right, you don't care. Cool. Have a nice day. Anyway, we got the Mika. We found the fortress. It's a good stronghold. Not the fortress, it's a stronghold. And we got out of there in one piece. All in all, a good victory, I would say. And I can show you a bit of the changes I've made to the base. I was hoping, because I'm currently in the process of tech supporting Quint's return to being on Greg Tech sometimes, which is less tech support and more figuring out a schedule where he's not busy. But I was hoping that the next time I streamed this game would be when Quint was available, so I could show off the major changes to my base that I've done over the course of the past week. And you would see it and be amazed at the same time that Quint saw it and be amazed. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and instead I will simply not mention the changes I've made so that they seem weird and surprising, and you will have to wait until Quint sees them for me to provide any context or information about them. I will instead try and focus purely on what I am doing in the most narrow form, which is the pyrolyse oven and the Mika and the coils and all that stuff. Also, if you are familiar with Greg Tech and the creation of coils and the use of Mika and the creation of coils, you may know that it is not just Mika I would need, I would also need asbestos. Don't you worry, I also got asbestos while I was out on this mining adventure, so we have that. I have prepared, I have planned, I have schemed. No amount of scheming could have prepared me for accidentally falling into the stronghold. Who would have predicted that? I actually don't know the statistics involved. That, like, the one ore vein with the material I need, and the closest one I could find, is standing just above the stronghold. Like, it requires that the ore vein over the stronghold is one of a rare material that I can't find anywhere closer. And I guess at that point, the statistics don't really matter that much, because at that point, because it's the one with the rare material, it's the one I'm obviously going to go to. And then it's just inevitable, like I dig down and I find it. Still, though, it's pretty surprising. And since we know where that stronghold is, we can pretty reasonably triangulate the position of at least two others. Assuming that this version of Minecraft has the whole theory of triangles going on. But that's neither here nor there. We have the Mika. We can do Mika processing. We can start making the oils. I don't know if we could theoretically make Canthal coils. But I do know we can make Cooper nickel. The Canthal coils would be better because we could swap out the Cooper nickel coils here, and the blast furnace would go at double speed, But I think it would also take double power, and we can't really accommodate that right now. It's too expensive. So let's just make some copper nickel coils with all the mica and stuff we've got and see what we can do about it. This is going to be an occurrence, an event, if you will. First, let's sort out some of the materials we have. And some materials we have chest. We got some polisite, we got some mica, we got some kyanite, which from what I understand, is a very good source of aluminum and silicon. We got cassiterite, which is tin. Please appreciate tin. Got some crushed ores in the backpack. We have diatomite, which I did not figure out a use for, but it looks like it's got silicon and iron and aluminum, so we can probably put it to some work. And the asbestos. I also found some garnet sand with the asbestos, and I wasn't expecting this, but it appears to be a source of manganese. And I, also as part of off-stream mining and off-stream building, was kind of running into a lack of manganese. We need manganese eventually for stainless steel. And now we've figured out how to get it. Get that garnet sand with the asbestos. All right, so let's look at this. Our target is the coil, the copper nickel coil. I will look at the canthal for a second. We need canthal wire for canthal, and that is canthal wire. And canthal wire is made of canthal. And canthal is made out of cold canthal. And cold canthal is made out of canthal. And canthal is made out of iron, aluminum, and chrome. All of which we have. The problem, I believe, is the power requirements in a blast furnace to make canthal requires high voltage electricity, which is just out of reach or just a little too inconvenient for us to actually pursue. But once we get some high voltage power, we can definitely make some canthal. Moving on, let's actually go to the copper nickel coil. The aluminosilicate is what we used before to make the ones for the blast furnace, but now we can use mica and molten tin, which is easier for us. So the mica insulator foil is made out of a mica insulator sheet or chlorophyllite plate. We can't make that, I checked. So we need a mica insulator sheet, and a mica insulator sheet is mica-based sheets and quartzite. Quartzite, easy. We got plenty of that. We've also got Certus quartz, silicon dioxide. They're all just silicon dioxide in different names. We have that. The mica-based sheet is made out of mica-based pulp and asbestos. We have the asbestos, thanks to the mining, and the mica-based pulp is made out of mica and either sticky resin or raw rubber dust. Something we have a lot of. I don't know the ratios that we need, because 3 and 2 makes 4, and 4 makes 4, and 4 makes 4, and 4 makes 16, and 16 makes 2. And we need 9. So we just make a lot. That's what we need. It's just a whole bunch. Just a lot of it. Okay, so step 1, get some mica from the mica. Not a lot from what we can tell, just I'll go with 16. It's a reasonable amount. Then we start processing. And the processing is, of course, nothing new. Put it in there. We want the dust, so I am going to use my patented wrench. Not patented, I'm just pretending it is. I'm going to take the useful materials that I left behind from my mining expedition, like the wrench. We are going to rotate the macerator's output so it goes straight into the forge hammer. And then output the items. They are in the forge hammer now, and the forge hammer is turning them into mica dust. Great, we know what we're doing. That mica dust is impure, and so we'll want to dunk it into this cauldron, which will give us the regular dust. Meanwhile, we want to get some supplies from our raw rubber supply, which should be right here. There it is. Stack of that should do us well. I can also put away some of the crushed ores. We do have some new bits of those. Doot, 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 doot. Doot, 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 doot. All right, we need a bigger box or just another one. Sorted. I feel like crushed ore isn't the most important to keep around. It's a byproduct of when I was worried we needed all the different types of ores and have them in salvage so that if we needed to use them for the ore finder, we would have them on standby. And that might be true for some of them, but for things like copper, iron, nickel, like we just have ores of those. They're readily available. And if we lose them, we can find them in one of the ore veins we already have. So the deep well of ores is perhaps not as important as it used to be. But I do not want to fall into the mistake of completely relying on a system I didn't invent. Or rather to say that, a system that I don't actually maintain. Like, if I don't have the ore deep well and I'm just relying on ores I randomly have around, then it's not really an ore deep well. I could lose one at any moment. Anyway, stuff's going good. We got the Mika, we got that 14, we got 9 more, that'll equal 18 probably, and yep, that's a solid 32. Should probably prepare the other things we need. We need 9 coils, so if we are contemplating our coil requirements, the other thing we need is copper nickel wire and molten tin. Molten tin's easy. We need 8 double copper nickel wires for 1, which means we actually need a lot of copper nickel. So a 2 times copper nickel wire is made out of a single ingot of the same material. And copper nickel ingot is made out of 1 copper and 1 nickel ingot, but it gives you 2 copper nickel because conservation of mass and all that. Which means for every coil, we need 4 copper and 4 nickel ingots. And we need 9. So that's going to be 36 of each. So we need a little bit more than half a stack of copper and a little bit more than a half a stack of nickel. Let's see what we have in terms of those resources. Well, we have 13 copper nickel already, which could save us some material. Nickel. We have 2 nickel. We have more nickel. Wow, wait, that's all the nickel we have? We're running out of nickel. Where do I get nickel? Are there nickel in ore veins out there in the universe? No? Well, this is important for us to know. Nickel. Where are we getting nickel? We can get it out of copper ore, I guess. Gold ore. Iron ore. Nickel ore. Understandable. Platinum. Meteoric iron. Sheldonite. Garnierite. That seems like a good option. Pig iron as well. Roasted nickel. Yellow limonite. Cobaldite. And nichromite. That explains why... No, that's roasted nickel. Malachite. I need to see that again. What was the green one? Garnierite. Is that something we have access to? No. We find it in the Twilight Forest. Okay, that makes sense. Nickel vein with garnierite, nickel, cobaltite, and petlandite. All right, okay, so if we want more nickel, we need to go to the Twilight Forest. That's informative. That's helpful. That's knowledgeable. What do I do with roasted nickel, by the way? Smelt it into nickel? Or smelt it with carbon in a blast furnace to make more nickel and carbon dioxide. Well, if we have some roasted nickel, we'll take that. It will make stuff. Carbon dust, I think we have a lot of, so that should be easy. Dust compound, biotite, vanadium, magnetite. Wait, no, this is mag. We need that. Yep, there we go. Just a little bit of carbon dust. The blast furnace being useful for more than just making aluminum and steel. How about that? Hey, there it goes. So it takes 2 nickel and it makes 3 nickel. That's a good trade. Technically speaking, the nickel in dust form is perfectly serviceable for our needs. Since we're going to be alloying it together with copper, the form it takes doesn't really matter. So let's start alloying it. We are running a bit low on copper as well because I spent it all on the pyrolos oven casings. I'm building the pyrolos in this little alcove over here next to the farm for wood because it takes in logs and outputs charcoal and stuff. So the 9 coils will go on the bottom center, right around where that wooden stake, which is a torch, is. And from there, it'll heat things up. That's going on. We have our impure pile of mica dust. We can then take that impure pile of mica dust and dunk it. Now we have mica. It went into here. Now we take the mica, put it in a mixer. We could use, we want mica-based pulp, so 3-2, takes 4 in the mixer. Electronic circuit setting number 2. Where is our mixer? That's on setting 8. Put it to 2. Put that in, and boom! It's going. It'll take a while. All right, that's some nickel. We need a bit more copper. I've spent most of our copper on bronze. Is there even copper left in the base? Maybe take some out of the tetrahedrite through some electrolysis. Would really appreciate just having the supply. We have chalcopyrite, which will work as a substitute. But yes, I am in the midst of a copper crisis. So the way to get it out of there, blast furnace possibly. Could just cook it directly. Electrolysis will get me copper, iron, and sulfur for every 4 we put in, but we want maximum copper. So I think just cook it. Very good, very good. The outputs are up here. The mica is being invented. And in a fairly good supply as well. Okay, so next we need the asbestos. The asbestos, we will just get like 25 of it. Seems good. One of the ways to process it, macerate it into asbestos, master it into this. It is just a macerator product. Another macerator into forge hambo camo, so it'll go in here, dump it into here, turn it into the dust, we dunk it. I noticed the water was running low in the cauldron we are using for dunking, so I will get some more. There. I've tried to fill a cauldron using a water cell before, but it just dumps the water outside the cauldron and floods everything. It's very inconvenient, but funny. But inconvenient, but funny. All right, we got a bit more copper. Let's put it into the alloy smelter. We will get our copper and nickel from that, and from there, start building. So again, it is 8 times 9, so we will need... Well, hold on. It's 8 times 9 for the copper nickel. For the copper and nickel, it's half that. So like 36 of each, but we need slightly more than a stack for this. 72 exactly, to be specific, but I don't know if we have enough nickel for that. Well, it'd be 36 nickel, and we now have 24 more nickel brought to you by your local resources. Cupro nickel. I'm going to see if there's any spare copper nickels lying around. Yes. All right, cool. I'm no longer concerned about our supply of copper nickel. All right, yeah, that's more than we need. Excellent. Now we will take the copper nickel we have and wire mill it to 2x copper nickel wire specifically. We are going to need 8 of that for each coil. We need 9 coils, so we are going to need 72 of that. The asbestos is asbestizing. How much asbestos do we need? That is an important question. One I probably already know. Okay, so it's 8 foil. 4 of it is made per insulator sheet, and an insulator sheet is 1-to-1. So 8 mica based sheets is made with 1 asbestos. So 1 asbestos gives us 4, 16, 2. So actually we have much more asbestos than we need for this little thing right here. It's fine though. You know, copper nickel coils are useful. Maybe we could build another blast furnace or something, who knows? Energy production is something that we really do not have scaled. Everything's currently being fueled by a pair of advanced gas turbines. But if we had the production and we could build a lot more gas turbines, they are not burning through our benzene supply at all. So we could theoretically build more, have more machines, parallel repeated machines to be able to do things fast, or make like entirely dedicated production lines for materials we need a lot of, like those engines for machines. There's a spider skittering around, and I would just like to deal with it. Spider, where are you? Okay, you are a normal spider that's just chilling on the ceiling, and you are doing this because our roof is not very tall. So enjoy the spider noises. Alright, that's going through. We've got about 40 mica pulp. No clue if that's an appropriate amount for what we're doing. We have plenty of asbestos. I'll just dunk it. There. Got the asbestos. Mica pulp is 4-to-1 in a forming press. Ah. I did not think this part through. We do not have a forming press. We need to make a forming press. Okay. Sure. Why not? Tin cable, electric piston. The piston's just a bunch of steel. And the motor. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I'm doing this on stream. So, 2 pistons. Do we have any motors remaining? Got some pumps. That's not a piston. That's not a motor. Alright, it's clear to me that we have no motors. Can we buy a motor from the motor depot? That's not the motor depot. Too many options. We can buy tin rotors, we can buy cables, we can buy pistons, but not the right piston. That's a regular piston, not an electric piston. We can buy iron rods, magnetic iron rods. These are all below the thing we need. Well, nothing for it. We gotta build ourselves a motor. That's not too difficult. Step 1 is just lathe some iron ingots into iron rods, not to be confused with iron cable. That's a different material. Then, if I recall correctly, it's copper, cable, and tin wire. We've got the tin wire, or the tin cable, but not the copper wire. Hold on, let me look. Keep making these things, but you keep forgetting the recipe. Yes, 4 copper wire, annealed is a potential, and then 2 tin. Okay. I could spend the very little bit of copper we have remaining, and I suppose I will have to. Unfortunately, the wire mill is currently occupied making copper nickel right now, so we'll have to wait on that. In the meantime, I can prepare the steel for production. Now, we have a good bit of steel because actually, no, we don't, because I made it all for the pyrolysis oven and then used it on the pyrolysis oven, so we don't have it anymore. But the general methodology, now that we have our iron rods and dust, which we'll do something with, is 4 rods and 4 plates will get us the piston requirements, because we need 3 plates and 2 rods for the piston itself, but it also needs a small gear, which is 1 plate and 2 rods on its own. Meanwhile, the middle rod of the engine needs to be polarized, because that's how you make it. That's how the motor activates. You put electricity into it, it magnetizes the sides of the motor, and then the magnetic rod spins to that place, and that keeps going. It's the classic Tesla motor system. We have that. Next up, the tin cable. There we are. Wait, we need 2 pistons, right? For the forming press. Yes, we do. So we do need both of these. Both of the motors we're making, which will both be used to make the thing. That might mean we need more tin cable. Fortunately, we can buy that, and we're still pretty good on technician coins. I'm actually short 1 copper. No longer short 1 copper. There is our steel rods and some steel dust that we can turn into steel dust and then put back into the furnace to turn into things again. We have carbon dust, which we can, I guess, put here. Yes, electronic circuit setting 1. should have that running. Yep, there it goes. All right. The wire mill is done. I will temporarily commandeer it to make 8 copper wire for our motors, for our pistons, for our forming press, for our mica. And then we need another 8 copper nickel wires at setting 2. Oh, look! A solicitor. Little do they know that that is illegal. I don't know how to ban, so I'm just gonna block. Sorry, I don't know how to report, so I'm just gonna block. Oh, that was a convenient distraction for the wire mill to wire mill. Two electric motors complete. Now we can build the plates. We're going to need twice as much steel as I initially allocated to this project. 4 in there, 4 in there. And we cannot build this part yet because we still need to make the gears. That is a simple matter of a file and a wire cutter. Other way around. Not other way around, not a file, but a hammer. No. Maybe it's not a wire cutter at all. Maybe it's a hammer and a file. Nope. Wire cutter and a hammer. There we go. Got those. Okay. Here. Motor. Get the finished product here. Some rods, some plates. Next would be the tin, but we need a bit more money for that, so. Hello, I would like to purchase your finest tin cables, please. Thank you for your patronage. Okay, 2 piston done. Next up, we need... This is for the forming press. Okay. Check, 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 not check. We need a low voltage machine hull. Of which do I have any spare lying around? No, I do not. Right, I used it for the muffler. I remember having one. Okay, so we are going to need 9 steel, which we don't have. Just kidding. All of this steel shall need to be... not lathed, bending machined into plates. Those plates shall be bending machined. They shall not be bending machined further. They shall be wrenched together into a box and then... Oh, wait, no, we also need pig iron. Not pig iron, wrought iron. Burn some of that. That's a macerator, not a furnace. There we are. So, a bit of an update to the proceedings. Last stream we were on GregTech 2.3.5. We are now on GregTech 2.3.6. If you were there, you may have noticed that the machine hull recipe was slightly less expensive than usual. It was just the base hull and then the 2 wires on the side, whereas it used to be the center, 2 wires on the side, and then an assortment of 3 different plates on top of that. That has been reverted in 2.3.6, so that brief moment of extreme convenience is now gone. It will be dearly missed. Fortunately, we will be able to return to our original glory once we create and subsequently use the Pyrolose oven for polyethylene. Because polyethylene will allow us to assembling machine parts, and those use the block and 2 wire recipe, the reduced one that we had for a brief moment. What am I doing over here? Right, the wrought iron. And that, very good. So that there, that there, that there. The tin cables, we have our LV machine hull. Put that there. Put those there. Put those there and square it off. And before you can even know it, forming press created. I don't really have a convenient place to put it, so I'll just put it... I'll put it in line with the bending machine, so I'll put it here. We definitely need to redecorate. Something to do when I feel we're more confidently able to do all the power things. Okay, so, mica-based pulp. Put it in. Asbestos. There it goes. Do we need more mica? Because it's 3 to 4. And then that 4 will eventually be used to make 2. So a supply of approximately 30 will make 40 of those, which will make 10. It's barely enough. All right, mica-based sheet. What do we do with the mica-based sheets again? Quartzite dust or Certus quartz dust or silicon dioxide or nether quartz dust. 2 to 1, and we're going to have about 40, 50, so 20 quartz dust. Well, we got plenty of silicon dioxide. Let's use it. Technically speaking, silicon is going to be an important resource for making some advanced technology stuff in the future. But since we can't do that right now, I'm not obliged to care. All right, alloy smelter, ready. $16 good, 16 good, 16 is good enough to start. Let's do this. One of the greatest benefits of having this second gas turbine is that I can just power all of my incidental random machines without having to be worried about the power stalling. It only stalls if I'm also using the arc furnace at the same time. Which, you know, is fine. I don't use the arc furnace all that often. I mostly just use it to make annealed copper and turn iron into wrought iron. Which I only do occasionally when I need steel. Speaking of steel, do I have any extra steel cooking? Yes, I do! Great. Oh, that's a solid 10 emergency steel. Spider's still around. So we got the mica insulator sheet. The mica insulator sheet is then turned into the foil immediately. which can then be used for the insulator, for the coil. Cool. Let's do it. With a whopping total of 16 insulator sheet, I am going to put it in here. This amount should get me 8 coils, which is just ever so slightly less than what I actually wanted. So, more. Then the assembling machine can be prepared to make the coils themselves. Yep, so 8, molten tin, setting 3. We'll need molten tin. Molten tin is easy, though. In fact, I probably already have some. I do. I need more, though. So I will get more, though. Seems like we're going to need 9 coils, so I will get 9 tin. Molten tin is easily constructed using the classic fluid extractor. And I will not need to overuse a million cells because I have a large steel fluid cell to hold it all in at once. Ink. And there we are. 9 tin worth of molten. We can put that molten tin in here, get it ready for its use. I can then bring in the rest of the... Oh, oops. Easy fix. Accidentally made it 1x Cooper nickel wire. We needed 2. Okay, put that in there. The mica foil is... Well, a good chunk of it's done. Let's start dumping it. We need 8 more than what we have currently. So just 1 more should do it. Ah, my mistake. It makes 4 and we need 8. I thought it made 8, my bad. And there's the coils! By my math, we should have 9 by the end of this. Great, so now we have a reasonable way to make coil. At least Cooper nickel. Which means that multi-blocks, in general, are available to us. Because a lot of them use that. I don't exactly know what to do about that fact. Anthol, in particular, is still very far away because we do not have high voltage blast furnaces. But we could maybe make a high voltage blast furnace. If we make the medium voltage to high voltage converter and then plug that into a higher energy hatch than what we have here, we could technically heat up the Canthol. Cooling it down would be an inconvenience, but it's not one I haven't done before. I had to cool down all those bricks to make the advanced coke oven. And if it's a similar process, yeah, just chemical bath with some coolant. It's not impossible, just really inconvenient. Would really appreciate doing it if we had a vacuum freezer or cryogenic freezer or extreme heat exchanger to turn the hot coolant back into coolant and make a proper infinite cycle. But that would require a cryogenic freezer, which takes insane voltage technology, such as tungsten steel and tungsten and graphene and tungsten and tungsten and neodymium. We don't have that. Hate to disappoint you, but we don't have that. Vacuum freezer. What do we need for a vacuum freezer? High voltage. Wait, that's actually slightly more reasonable. It's just super expensive on aluminum, which is not great, but it's doable. We would need... Oh, no, wait, hold on. Never mind. Everything's ruined. We need an extreme voltage circuit. Steel rotors. Electro... Actually, this is all doable. We can do silver cable. Stainless steel rod's a little bit of a problem. we well, I know we can make stainless steel dust, but cooking it into something requires high voltage electricity in the electric blast furnace, but it does use cupronickel, so we can do that. So it seems like a general important next step for us is getting the electric blast furnace to high voltage power input so that we can power input some dang stainless steel. But here's our 9 cupronickel coils for the one and only pyrolysis oven, unless I build another. But I might not build another because they are dang expensive. I will have to break my way back in. Where's my wrench? Did I leave it in the crafting table for the... Yes, I did. Alright, busting our way in. Don't mind me. Do not mind me. Mobs cannot spawn on this block, so I'm not too particularly worried about this center. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And just like that, the interior of our pyrolysis oven is complete. All we need now are the inputs and output chambers for electricity, materials and fluids, and a maintenance hatch. And then some more pyrolysis oven casings to fill in the gaps we've left behind. That's pretty good. Unfortunately, we are out of steel, so we will need to solve that. But I can demonstrate to you the faster method of steel production. The fastest method of steel production right now that we have is a multi-step process involving iron and oxygen. Step 1. Take iron, macerate it into dust. Wait, that's not actually necessary. Step 1. Put iron into the arc furnace to turn it into wrought iron. Step 2. Macerate the wrought iron. Step 3. Put the wrought iron into the electric blast furnace with oxygen to turn it into steel at like the rate of 1 steel per 5 seconds. Circuit setting for that is circuit number 11, by the way. Now, typically that might be a problem because you gotta like get all this iron and you gotta put it in there, but I already have 60 wrought iron in advance. The real problem is getting that much oxygen. My main source of oxygen up to this point has been electrolyzing ashes gotten from our benzene production, and then electrolyzing... Wait. Clarification. It is taking the ashes from the benzene production, centrifuging out a bunch of different materials, phosphorus pentoxide, soda ash, potash, quicklime, and then electrolyzing those to get the oxygen out of those materials. And as you can see, I have 24 kiloliters of oxygen prepared in this tank up here. Problem is, in order to turn 1 wrought iron into steel, we need 1 kiloliter of oxygen. So this much oxygen would give us 24 steel, and that's it. And I mean, I was able to make a whole lot of steel. I made like 4 stacks of this stuff, and I used it all for the pyrolysis casings. But I ran out of ash. I'm honestly surprised I have a stack remaining. But it's what you gotta do. And it's what I'm gonna do. Put the wrought iron in there. We already have 1 oxygen in that container. I'm going to take out a bunch of empty cells. Empty this tank of all of its oxygen. Now I have 24 oxygen cells. Put them all in here. And that'll make us like 21 steel, which is something we need. For reasons. Right, because we need the hulls in order to make the input and output hatches, and I will go for the low voltage equivalents of all of them, simply because I am Just trying to be attentive. Oh, wait, how the heck am I going to power the pyrolyse oven? How much power does the pyrolyse oven even need? Our output is intended to be wood gas, and wood gas is... Okay, so it's medium voltage, 64 EU per tick. That would require 2 low voltage energy hatches. Well... Actually, this is something I don't really understand about the technology. What do we need for powering a multi-block? Because we have 2 hatches. They're both low voltage, but it's outputting like 5 amps. I assume that it believes it uses 120 EU per tick. And it's using the wrought iron in the electric blast furnace. And the electric blast furnace recipe is 120 EUs per tick, which means it's using low voltage at 4 amps to get that much energy. And that works. Could I do that with a single hatch, though? Because if it's 32 EU at 4 amps, this split is probably just dividing that into 32 EUs at 2 amps per each. Because that's outputting 4 amps and that's outputting 2 amps. So I technically don't need 2 hatches here. How much does this cost? Invar. Right. The iron nickel combo. I remember that being inconvenient, so I will not deal with it. But in theory, and it is a theory, if we power the pyrolyse oven with a single energy hatch at low voltage 4 amps, that should work, right? Like, that's just how that works. That's math, that's science, that's just wisdom. Am I correct? I might be correct. I'm not exactly sure why they recommended I make 2 here if I can just 4 amp in the power. And, like, it's 4 amps out of here anyway, so, like, why bother? So if I could maybe... This won't actually help me. Because my thought was I could take out one of the energy hatches and use it in the pyrolyse oven instead of making a whole new one. Well, that said, right, I have to make like lubricant and pumps and these coils made of fine steel and, well, the fine steel is actually okay. The lubricant's a product of oil. I don't got oil. I can make it out of creosote. Probably still have some lying around. Not the point, though. The point is, I could get away with swapping out one of the energy hatches here, putting it on the pyrolyse oven, and this will still work. That means I won't have to build another dang pyrolyse thing. I might still have spare lubricant, though. I do, but not enough for a full cell. No worries, I will simply not care. So, once that'll probably be the final piece of the pyrolyse oven then, will be the energy hatch. Pyrolyse. I keep trying to say pyrolyse. I don't really understand why my brain has decided that's the way you pronounce it. I'm just dealing with it. Anyway. We do have some extra ash. We could use it for more oxygen. But I think our real source of oxygen is going to have to be electrolysis of water or compression of air into electrolysis. Because there are a lot of ways to make oxygen as like a waste product after other processes, but it's not easy. Carbon and hafnia in a chemical reactor, fluid extracting oxygen combs, centrifuging basically everything. Most relevant to us is probably compressed air. We centrifuge the air and then compress it into one oxygen after 80 seconds for excessive amounts of excess nitrogen. And don't even get me started on the electrolyzer. Because, like, the way you make oxygen in an electrolyzer is you take water and you split it. Distilled water, regular water, it doesn't matter. It takes 100 seconds. It'll get you oxygen and a bunch of hydrogen for free. It's slow. Well, hold on a second. I just had an idea. It takes 6,000 electrical units to make this process happen once. That process is done. One water, one process gives 2 hydrogen. Hydrogen is a fuel. You can put it in a gas turbine for 2,000 electrical units, which means. Wait, hold on. Let me read that again. I lost it. Get me to the water. Get me to the water. There's the water. Yes. Okay, so hydrogen gas. We're looking at it. You can see it. It's visible. As a power source, hydrogen gives 2,000 per cell in a gas turbine fuel. And that's 1,000. So the output of electrolyzing water, something that costs 60,000 EUs, is 40,000 EUs of hydrogen. My initial thought was that maybe we'd have to dump the hydrogen overboard and just cut the loss. But we could also use the hydrogen to sort of supplant the energy needs for this device. Now, technically speaking, the energy requirements are not that restrictive. It's just 30 EUs per tick per electrolyzer. But this is one of those things that might actually be beneficial to parallelize. Make a bunch of electrolyzers. So, like, let's say four electrolyzers. That's about 1 medium voltage worth of power output, like a medium voltage 1 amp. And that'll get you a can of oxygen in 25 seconds, which is not good. Well, it's better than what we have right now. But even better, it means that the hydrogen will be able to power that process to a reasonable degree. In fact, what if we only made it a 2-stage process? What if, and it, just hear me out here. We have a number of electrolyzers powered by the benzene. The benzene, just medium voltage 1 amp. And that makes this, and it makes hydrogen, and it makes oxygen, and it makes hydrogen. And the hydrogen is used to power a second row of slightly fewer electrolyzers. Because if it takes 3 kiloliters of hydrogen to power one electrolysis process, then it means that 3 electrolyzers can power 1 or 2 other electrolyzers. So if we have 3 electrolyzers that are powered by benzene, then that gives us 2 extra electrolyzers powered by the output hydrogen. But that's not even true, because the output hydrogen, the second row, will be making hydrogen of its own. Which means for them to be self-sustained, they only need their own output hydrogen plus 1 extra cell. Which means that 1 benzene-powered electrolyzer actually powers 2 hydrogen-powered electrolyzers. I'm a dang genius. I am an absolute genius. I have invented something. I don't know what I've invented, but I've invented it. Because all the hydrogen is basically waste product for us. We don't need it. The only hydrogen I'm using right now is to power this gas turbine to manage the crops. And that's only because it takes so little energy that I didn't bother doing anything to... I didn't want to wire anything over here. It was just too much effort. Wait, if 20,000, there's about 7,000 in here. So that's about, what, 140 EUs in that storage container right now, ready to be used? I just realized I had a separate problem, independent of all this, where I just had this low voltage battery buffer that was doing nothing. I could swap out that gas turbine, get it to be fueled by benzene, and then start electrolyzing water at like the simplest level. Just benzene it. And that battery would be easy to just recharge. I just swap it out for one of the ones in here. Cool, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm doing at this exact moment, this particular activity that I'm doing. Step 1, I don't even care about the hydrogen in here. Just take that. This gas turbine, I'm going to use it for electrolysis. Step 2, take this. I now have a low voltage battery buffer. That's the output. Slap that way. The battery is a small sodium battery, which I'm currently not using. But I'm actually going to do one better. For you see, I have another sodium battery in here. I think I just found it during my dungeon challenge mode. And I'm going to save the energy in that one, extract the battery. So now it's just a battery hole. And I'm doing that because one of the outputs of all of my centrifuging and extracting of materials is lithium. I have lithium. I don't remember how I got it, but I got it. Yeah, it was some process. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Is it one of these processes? Is there lithium in any of these? No. So... Actually, now I'm curious. How did I get the lithium? I know I electrolyzed something. Sputamine, clay... It was the clay dust. I got a lot of clay dust that I got from the terracotta or like hard clay dust or whatever it is from the biome next door. Turned it into clay dust, electrolyzed it, got sodium, lithium, alumina, and silicon dioxide. That's why I have so much silicon dioxide. And the lithium, very conveniently, can be canned to make a slightly better low voltage battery. It's very similar to the sodium ones we've been using so far, but with double the capacity. So now, with this lithium battery, I can then swap out the other lithium batteries in here because I just have a whole lot of them. I made the battery buffer to store as much energy as possible, and then just slap it in there. And now this machine will be powered for about as long as the hydrogen would, except it's a lot easier to replenish. Just swap out the batteries. Battery-powered machine right there, easy. In fact, I'm considering making medium voltage batteries so I don't have to do this amp step down over here. I can just start having like a medium voltage like clump of machines like this one. Because I have an electrolyzer, I have a mixer. I've got a distillery, but I don't really need that much right now. I will need another one for the wood tar, possibly, for wood gas. And that could all use a battery buffer of the regular variety. Now I have this free gas turbine, which I can then combine with water in order to make stuff. Awkwardly, though, I only have one electrolyzer. Which means the moment I start using it for the purpose of getting water, is the moment I can't use it for anything else. And I do use it. Good for extracting materials. So maybe I need another one? The medium voltage electrolyzer is a bit awkward to use because it technically stalls out when used for a long time because, the distillery and all that needs to power itself, and that takes energy that the electrolyzer cannot have. Which means that it'll stall out, or this will stall out, and it'll just stop working. But it might be good enough. So, let's tap into our supplies. Right down here, I have the benzene pipe network. This is bronze fluid pipe. Technically speaking, I think I don't have any more bronze fluid pipe because I melted it all down for bronze or the pyrolyze oven. I have a small bronze fluid pipe. Is that a bronze fluid pipe? No. Oh, yes, it is small bronze. So we're actually fine. Just need one more from the reserve. Flap that up. Wrench it so it's outputting at the very top, and then the basic gas turbine will create as much energy, but at a lower voltage, so not as fast. That's completely fine, though. I'm fine with that. Meanwhile, the basic electrolyzer shall be retired and placed here. Next up, the water. I actually have a very good tool for the water supply. It's this reservoir. The ultimate answer to our water needs. And it is absolutely simple to use. Simply place 2 buckets of water into the reservoir, and it will make infinite water sources like you could do in basic traditional Minecraft. Now I just need a pump to bring in the water, which I have 11, thanks to a very lucky draw. Import, please. Now, if I recall correctly, it was circuit 2. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not circuit 2. Electrolyzer of water. Water, oxygen, that's that one. Ah, no, it's circuit 1. My mistake. There it goes. Now, in theory, we just leave that at that, and we are good. We are golden. Yeah, it's still going to take 100 seconds, but what can you do? I'll tell you what you can do. You can get a better electrolyzer. More power, more electrolyzers, period. But it does mean that we are technically never going to run out of oxygen, as long as we have power. Now, given the way I'm doing this right now, it is not built for the recycling plant. That's powered by benzene, and I don't have another turbine. So, for the moment, simply because I do not care, this trash can will take all of the excess hydrogen and void it out into oblivion. Which is something I'm okay with doing, because it's hydrogen, and I don't care. So fluid auto output should take care of that. The cells will turn into cells of oxygen. The 2 hydrogen will go out the side, and everything is good. Technically speaking, I could also bring over the... Well, okay, no. If I want to process the oxygen out of this... And second, I'm going to move this over slightly. I want a walking path to the outside, so I will go through here. Easy. But if I want to make this an infinite cycling machine, I will need a way to get the oxygen cells into liquid oxygen, not in a cell, which would require a fluid canner to dump it out and then go back and forth with the inputs and outputs, which is a little complicated. I don't actually have a fluid canner, I just have a canning machine. So that's not on the cards for right now, but it's fine. Just a tiny little bit of manual process is not a big deal. This tank, however, has become canonically useless. Oh well. Back to what I was doing, which was something, I assure you. Wrought iron needs oxygen. We are out of oxygen. We are making more oxygen. That's all check. In order to build the remains of the Pyrolose oven, we are going to need energy hatch, which we shall do with the one we stole. Input hatch, output hatch, other input hatch, other output hatch, maintenance hatch. What do we need for those? Hatch. Dynamo hatch. Input hatch, output hatch. Input hatch. We don't need a... This isn't an automated... Well, it could be an automated system. Capacity. The tanks don't need much. An ultra-low voltage machine hull could do the job, and that's just wrought iron, period. That takes wood planks and lead cable. Honestly, the most expensive part of that, or the most inconvenient, is the lead cable itself. But we could also go for the low voltage variant, which is the regular low voltage machine we are so much a fan of. That requires our 9 steel and tin, along with a tank, of which we do have a few of. It will take refined glue or polyethylene to build anyway. The input and output bus for the solids is the exact same thing, except the tank is replaced with a chest. I remember getting polyethylene as like a reward for good behavior. Do I still have that? Polyethylene. Yes, I came into the possession of a bunch of polyethylene bars. So we could use those. I assume a fluid extractor could turn that into molten polyethylene, and it can. So we can optimize this a little bit. Big question. Lead cable. Lead. I don't have a lot of lead. Most of the lead that I do have was converted into battery hulls, and I guess I do have a good supply remaining. Turn that into bars, turn it into cables. Can I buy lead cable? It seems like a weird thing to buy, but be available. No, just red alloy and tin and copper. Fair enough, fair enough. Feels like such a waste. If I could use tin cable instead of lead cable on the ultra low voltage buses and hatches, I would. It would just be so much more convenient because I don't want to waste all the steel. But I suppose that if I don't have all this steel, it's a failure of me as a person with a steel economy. And I can get the steel requirement to 8 per instead of 9 per because I have the polyethylene bars I can fluid extract and use for the gluing process in an assembly machine. And at that point, why am I even doing anything? We have a finite amount of polyethylene, and I'm going to use it to get us to polyethylene status. Man, things are complicated. Okay, I'm making the executive decision. We will use low voltage for things. Because I have the tanks. Need 2 of those, need 2 chests, that's 1. I'll get another. I think I put them away when I went on my excursion. Yes, I did. Technically speaking, for us, the only difference between wrought iron and steel is our oxygen supply. And we're solving that. We've got electrolysis. We'll make a better one. It's going. It just takes time. And I'm bored or impatient. One of the two. Sometimes both. Okay, we have that. That's 2 of the hatches. Maintenance. Maintenance hatch is required low voltage machine hull and an assembler. And every single type of tool ever. Screwdriver, wrench, wire cutter, crowbar, soft mallet, saw, file, hammer. 1 of each. Not too bad, not too bad. We can just make them out of some generic material that we got a lot of. Like bismuthite, rhodium. There's got to be an iron crowbar. In fact, what's my crowbar made out of? Made out of king slimes, apparently. Oh no, I think I sorted my inventory and I got something else. Yeah, it's ironable. You can make it out of iron. You can make all this out of iron. So it's just a little bit of processing for the maintenance hatch. Easy. What? In celebration of my grand success of thinking, I'm going to put an oxygen in here, and that's not where I put the oxygen. This is where I put the oxygen. Put all these cells in here, get more oxygen. And the electrolysis will make an infinite source of ash, which can then be centrifuged and then electrolyzed in this one for more oxygen if I so need. Look at that. That's the reservoir working. We are good to have that problem. Okay, so if I am going with this plan, using the polyethylene, I only need 8 plates per. And I do one low voltage hatch, one low voltage hull, machine casing, whatever it is, the one with the wires for each of the things. So maintenance, in, out, out. So 5 of them. I will also need a 6th one to replace the energy hatch in here. So that is technically 6. So 1, so in, out, maintenance, energy hatch replacement, which will be a liquid out for that machine. And then 4 more oven casings. 4 more. And I can do that. It is made with bricks and bronze ingots in an assembling machine. The recipe... Sorry. The recipe doesn't matter, but they need to be bronze ingot plates, which is just a bronze plate because a bronze ingot plate doesn't make sense. That's like calling something a bronze circle square. Depending on your mathematical leaning, that might be an accurate description of a cylinder of unit height, along with with a circle. The cylinder has a circle of diameter, unit diameter, and is of unit height on its length side. That could be a circle square. Technically speaking, it's like a circle square square depending on your orientation of looking at it. Because from the top it's a circle, and from the side it's a square. So that'd be a circle square. If you're not careful, it might turn into a circle rectangle if you extrude the circle upwards too far or not far enough. That's just one of those problems you have when you're dealing with moving something to the 3rd dimension. Or just any higher dimension. But yeah, because then you can think of like a cube as a square. And a rectangular prism as like a circle, as a rectangle square, or a rectangle. It's easier with a cylinder because there's only one side view no matter how much you rotate it along its circular axis. So it is only a circle square. You don't have to denote any other sides because a circle kind of uniforms that angle. Anyway, bronze plates are done. Put them in there. That will turn into the hull, and then we simply need some iron and steel. How much? Well, if we only need 4 of those casings, then I can tell you that we will need exactly 16 steel and 8 iron. Of which we have. They will also be turned into plates for similar reasons. Unfortunately, that dials in a bit to our steel supply for the hull casings themselves, so we are going to need to convert more wrought iron. And our oxygen is not really keeping up, all things considered. What happens when you get 1 steel every 100 seconds, which is honestly really good anyway. If you can think of how long it takes for it to get through the bricked blast furnace, that takes forever. 100 seconds is actually quite reasonably fast comparatively. I think of comparable speed might be the big Tinker's Construct smeltery, but that only works on pre-existing steel. I don't remember. It's been a while. That only converts steel dust back into regular steel. That doesn't convert wrought iron into steel. But it's a nice recycling method. The blast furnace can do it too, but it's a bit slower. Another thing that benefits from a improved iron supply. Well, anyway, that's the 16 steel. Crowbar to the rescue. Put that in there. Put the 8 plates in there. We will have our pyrolyzed casings. Now we need to actually decide where we're putting them on our machine. So, per convention, I say the liquids go on the left, the items go on the right. We need to think about what our actual inputs are, because we are using this for the creation of ethylene. Our choice is to get wood gas and convert it into ethylene. Wood gas is made by distilling charcoal byproducts, or, more directly, 16 logs in the pyrolyzed oven to make 20 charcoal and 1,500 wood gas. The charcoal can then be processed somehow into other... We could put it back in the pyrolyzed oven to get coal tar again, for a small pile of dried earth dust. But that doesn't really matter to me. What matters more to me is just charcoal is something we know how to use. We can take it out of here, put it into this. It can turn into benzene. This is another way of making benzene. We could technically stop using the advanced coke oven. Just put the logs in here, get the charcoal out of here, and keep going. That would require us to balance our wood tar production. And since I don't really know how much polyethylene we need, I know we need a good bit of it, but we can't really production line it yet. I'm not worried about that. Regardless, the major important outputs of this thing are going to be the wood gas and charcoal. And since most of the factory that uses it is over there, I'm going to bump convention and put the output bus and hatch on this side. Inputs over here. We don't need the input hatch. I just am building it to save space. And in case we want to use the pyrolyzed oven for anything else. So the logs will go in. And then they'll come out over here into the factory for whatever purposes we need. The maintenance hatch, also a tradition, shall be placed... Oh. Alright, it looks like we are going to need slightly more pyrolyzed casings than I initially thought. I did not realize the back was hollow. Oh, that's fine. It's just 3 more. An amount we have the perfect amount of bricks to do. This is really running into our supplies of materials, but... Yeah, we do what we gotta do. Gotta make that factory factor. The remaining bronze can be used for rotors, because I'm gonna need a lot of gas generators. A little bit of an oops, my bad. 3 more oxygen, that's good progress, I suppose. Yeah, let's put these in while we are available. The power can come in from this side. Well, it doesn't matter, because we can pipe the benzene in anywhere. How are we powering this, by the way? There's one energy hatch somewhere. will give us the like medium voltage gas turbine into power down stepper into 1 volt 4 amps can then be put into the low voltage. Wait a minute. Hold on. What if we make it medium voltage energy hatch? Did I name it wrong? Hold on. Hatch. Radio hatch. Hatch. There are too many hatches. I'm just going to get them from here. MV energy. There it is. So, okay. This is why. Accepts up to 2 amps. That's why we needed 2 before. Okay, so what's this take? Electric pump, medium voltage. That's reasonable. Makes sense. Applicator, machine hull. Ultra low power IC. What is that? ULPIC wafer. Laser in grid. Okay, never mind. We're not doing that. This also reveals to me the fact that we do need 2 energy hatches because they only accept up to 2 amps. Which means we can't take from these, which means there will be 2, which means we need even, like, 1 less pyrolyse than I thought we did. So only 2 have to go in there. Great. Now, it does mean we will need another LV energy hatch, and that requires lubricant and the weird coil thing, but we can make it work. Yep, there they are. So 8 more steel, followed by 4 more iron. Lay it up. Meanwhile, I'll just add these in. So in that case, I will simply put the energy hatches in this like back corner over here. We'll have that thing. It'll downstep, then a gas generator. Absolutely fine. I will also prioritize filling the oven casings over here because we know for a fact the... Well, how about energy hatch, maintenance hatch? Sound good. So then we'll have input, output, something like that, something like that. Oh, maybe we could do it a bit more stylistically. Make the front as empty as possible. Because it's just going to be logs. We put in logs here. That's going to be an automated process. So logs in, output over here. We'll get some output structures for that, like a chest for charcoal, or just funnel it into what we already have, even though it's backlogged. So it might get backlogged here. That's okay. Output the wood gas to a distillery, which is medium voltage distillery. Gonna need another one of those. Interestingly enough, wood gas is used as a fuel. The process Takes 40,000, which is not as much as it makes, which is unfortunate. Would have been funny to just make it fueled by its own output. Kind of what we're doing for the advanced coke oven. Maybe I need to learn a bit more about, like, flow control with all the machines we have. Because I don't really know a solid way of combining the inputs to go into the chest, aside from just pulling evenly. But I would prefer to pull more from here than there, because this is a complicated machine that has a product that we want to keep making, namely the ethylene eventually. It's a little complicated. Seven oxygen goes into here. Very good. That's a 7 more steel. Meanwhile, that 8 steel is done being bent, and now I can put it in here along with the bronze-plated bricks and the iron plate. Just to confirm, because I keep forgetting, input, put output, power maintenance, which means these two need to be filled in with the last 2 pyrolyse casings that we will be building. And here they are. Cool. Now it's the hatches, and that's just spam steel at the problem until it goes away. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 7 of these hatches. Wait. New idea. To save on steel in a really awkward roundabout way, we're going to use something more expensive. Input hatch. What if we used a medium voltage input hatch? What does that cost? Polyethylene, we can do that. Machine hull. That's just aluminum and annealed copper. Or regular copper, even. And a copper tank. How do I make a copper tank? It's a regular tank plus a bunch of copper bits and stained glass. Or molten glass, double copper plates, and a tank in here. Is this even a good idea? To go so far out of my way to save on steel, something which is conceptually less expensive than aluminum? In fact, I'm not even sure that'll work because I don't have any copper left. I'm overcomplicating this. I'm trying to circumvent a problem with a worse problem. We have 28 stealing it. We need, at the bare minimum, like 40, 48, 49, 42. 56. 56 is how many we need. At minimum. That's not counting for the plates. That requires the ethylene recipe. And that's just for the hulls. We'll have the tanks, we'll have the chest, but then there's the energy hatch requirements, which I believe needs fine steel wire. The maintenance hatch, which needs... Well, it doesn't need any more steel than it does. It just needs a bunch of those tools, which is tedious. Oxygen supplies, you were doing okay. I've put some ash in here. Give me some quick lime. Quick lime is an excellent source of oxygen. 2 quick lime gives you 1 oxygen. Alright, there's now this is going to start to stall because it's using 120 and this is using... It occasionally uses some, but not right now, I guess. But it does sometimes. Like that instant right there. It might be enough to stall this machine out. You're not paying close enough attention. So like I just put 44 quick lime in there and got 22 oxygen. There's only 20 wrought iron left. I'm going to take 2 of those oxygen containers and use them to top off the arc furnace. Because I can tell we are going to need a little more wrought iron. So, the wrought iron recipe, as it was always and as it will continue to be. Step 1. Arc furnace all of your iron. Wait, if I arc furnace all of my iron while these machines back here are running, that will stall things. But none of them are running, so we're good. Arc furnace. Putting that away for organization. Like the wacky thing with the arc furnace is it's low voltage, but it requires 3 amps. So let's clean up some of our previous work. All the silicon dioxide, all of the random assortment of mica byproducts, if they're scattered about. Yep, there's a mica-based sheet. The mica pipeline is fundamentally separated from everything else that we're doing with it. So I'm willing to put those materials somewhere else. Silicon dioxide, though, I can just slap right back in there. Anything else? Anything else? A few extra ashes from the centrifuge we can put back in here. Oh, the arc furnace is out of oxygen. It takes a lot. Now, on a per iron ingot quantity, it's not much. It's like 50, a little bit more. But going through an entire stack at once, that's going to add up. In fact, I'm not even sure if this is going to be enough. It'll be close. Just barely. 19 liters remaining. Anyway, step 2 is to macerate. We will not output to the forge hammer because we do not care. It's going to dust immediately. From there, we will bring it back over to here with all the oxygen we don't have and turn it into more steel. The potash dust is harder to use because in order to electrolyze it, we need... Oh, wait, never mind. I'm wrong. Was it the soda ash that was medium voltage? Yeah, it's the soda ash that's medium voltage. But we have medium voltage now. Magnesia dust is another 2-for-1 deal. Phosphorus is wacky. It's like 7-for-5. I'll take that trade. That's an easy 20. And who knows, one day we'll have a use for the phosphorus. With about half of the wrought iron done, we can start pumping it in. The magnesium, the calcium. Let's go for the potash, because that's already a multiple of 3. Yep, see, that's the power stalling I was warning about. There's no real easy way to fix this. The problem is that the real problem is that the arc furnace is running as we speak. We could cut power to the electric blast furnace, but that's a scary proposition. I think I'm starting to understand. I started initially thinking about this in terms of building all our power and then distributing it, but I'm starting to think that maybe we want to distribute our fuel instead. The whole benzene pipe thing actually, I think, worked pretty good for us. So we pump it out to the gas turbines at location of where we really want the dang stuff. And from there, it'll just operate away. Okay, so now that's empty. We, yes, okay, it's running now. There might be a few incidental stalls if the distillery has anything to say about it, but that's another thing we can just improve over time. The potash is filling up. We're going to have a bunch of oxygen to work with. Put it in there, get more steel, have more steel, make the machine hulls. Finish the pyrolysis oven for polyethylene. Really, though, I need more gas generators. Bigger pipes. But even more generally, I just need more machines. More machines, more power for those machines, the ability to power them independently so that they don't stall. The benzene supply is going well. I understand that technically speaking, the growing of logs is our limiting factor, but I could just build another one of these, make another crop manager, tile it, have it all funnel into one log output, and keep going from there. Bunch of electrolyzers. Actual production line. We could make actual production lines. we need to decide what we need to make. A production line for steel, definitely. Because it's just... maybe from ores. Like an ore processing, go from macerator to forge hammer to ore washer to centrifuge, something. There are options. There are so many options. And I'm very excited to like explore them, do them, experience them. That's half. Keep the spare oxygen for whatever we may need. We got potassium. We could do something with that. What is potassium used for? I understand that it's explosive. We could make rock salt for some reason. Potassium carbonate, potassium nitrate, saltpeter, potassium hydroxide, potassium disulfate. We could turn it into an ingot and then make stuff out of it. For some reason. Potassium foil, maybe. Nope. Yeah, okay, nothing. I don't... Well, potassium will have a use, maybe, at some point. Potassium plasma, molten potassium, perhaps. Fusion reactor. Molten potassium and fluorine makes nickel plasma. That's cool. Oh, right. They're being fused together. Literally turning potassium and fluorine into nickel. That's cool. The only use we've got for the stuff in base form, yes. I assume a potassium dust could be mixed in some way into some other polymer or just compound. Like Grizium could be useful. Uranium-based liquid fuel. That's a fuel. Seems important. Maybe rock salt's useful for something. Who knows? I don't. Maybe I will someday. Wrought iron. Put it in there. Okay, so 52 steel, just offhand, plus the 28 we have already. We can start making these machines. So, casual reminder, how many we need. 2 inputs, 2 outputs, 2 hatches, maintenance. 7. 56, which is actually 4 more. Okay, and we're going to be using the polyethylene recipe. This is very exciting. Let's get that polyethylene ready and make sure we know exactly what we're doing. So we have polyethylene, about a stack and a half. Given the usage requirement, it appears to be 1 per construct. So we need 7 for the finished machines, but also 7 for making the hull. Let's not bother with that particular step. We can just do it with a wrench. Actually, let's bother with that step at all. And low voltage energy hatch, just to confirm. Pump, machine hull, low voltage coil. Low voltage coil is simply magnetic iron and fine steel. Magnetic iron is simply... Yes, it's polarized. It's just put it in a polarizer. That does it. And then the fine steel is just wire milling really good. So, yeah, you didn't expect that trick, did you? We're making machine casings. The the allure, the excitement I got out of that. I really want to make production lines. I'm gonna make machine casings, and I'm gonna automate an entire dang factory to build a factory, and it'll be awesome. But I have no idea if it's actually useful. Just how many machine casings do I need of any particular voltage level? Like, yeah, I've built like one of every machine in low voltage almost, but how many more do I need? I could make a lot of electrolysis machines, though. It would burn our reservoir into complete usability, but it could do it. There's a capacity to all of this. Also, just as a reference, making the reservoir was fairly difficult. Like, I barely had the materials to do it. The the fused quartz was made out of nether quartz and glass, and that was easy, relatively speaking. Just alloy smelter some silicon dioxide with another silicon dioxide. The cauldron, also easy. Tough was the electric pump, because these are high voltage electric pumps. I had just like spare electric motors going around, but in order to make it, I needed stainless steel. I just happened to have stainless steel pipes around, but they were like large stainless steel pipes. Probably got them from the dungeon. I had to arc furnace them into ingots because if I tried to macerate them, I would get dust, and I can't work with dust in the blast furnace yet. So it was very lucky. I cannot build a. Well, I mean, I guess technically I've got a few more I could arc furnace down. So maybe more reservoirs are a thing I can build. They're very useful. Fastest source of water. I can actually start thinking of water as a non-issue now. Those old railcraft tanks, siding tanks, completely outmoded. I don't need them anymore. I'd still very much like to have them around. They're useful. But for fast water in a production facility, reservoir is easy. So much water, so fast. A kiloliter per second. The only downside being it's a max capacity of 2 kiloliters. But nothing a big tank can't fix. In fact, why not have this be the input for the tank siding? Yeah, it'll take in water at a really slow pace on its own, but it's also 400 buckets worth. Probably cheaper than a railcraft tank, considering I only need it for water. Maybe I could power things with steam again. That'd be funny. Got all the charcoal for it, why not? Alright, well, looks like we've got our machine casings. Now is the tricky bit. We will turn these into holes using the fluid extractor on 7 polyethylene bars. We got to be careful with the polyethylene. We cannot replenish our supply yet. All right, that's the polyethylene. Now we can go back to the... Hold up. In order to do this, we need the tin cables. We need more tin cable. We need about 14. So, we buy some more. Not that expensive, honestly. So, machine hull. 2, 1, no recipes, molten polyethylene. 7, 14, go! Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. What? Oh, oh, it takes 2 polyethylene for that step. Okay. We need 7 more. Five, 6, 7. That is our machine hulls. Now we can take the. Yes, okay. Take these. Now we need to be careful, because one wrong move and we will make the wrong type of hatch. We want the. So the important thing to know is that the input hatch and output hatch is a difference in circuit setting. 1 for input, 2 for output. So we should make them one at a time. Okay. 1 for input. Polyethylene, of course, of course, of course. 4 of it. And this is the one that only takes one bar worth. One. Now, in the meantime, we switch that to 2. Put in the next hull and the next tank. And that'll be the output. Then we'll very carefully do this process again for the hatches for input and output. Meanwhile, put the raw rubber away. We've got a small pile of iron dust from lathing it earlier. Put that in the furnace output simply because that's where more dust is right now. There's the input. The input hatch is the one we are decidedly not really using. Confirm for the assembler. It is a lot of cabinets. I'd probably invest in that if I cared. Input, output. Input, output. Again, it's the difference between circuit 1 and 2. Okay, so that's the output. Now we want chest. Swap it to circuit 1. Put the next pair in. And wait. Meanwhile, we'll put this in the output hatch. We will put the liquid output behind the solid output because we're going to use that one personally. You know, to put in and take out stuff. Maybe. Hypothetically. It's the process we're more likely to manually intervene on, I suppose. Okay, there's the output bus. The bus will go here. Meanwhile, the power hatch, the energy hatch. Low voltage energy hatch. Tin cable, okay, so assembly machine input. The lubricant is inputted as a liquid. And it means we are going to need that liquid. That lubricant is needed. How are we going to make it? Outside of that, we need 2 pumps, which, easy. Move everything over here so we have a 3x3 crafting area to pretend to use. So, electric pump, coil, processor, tin cable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just use this recipe as reference and we'll be 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, the coils, and then the lubricant. And that spider is a real fan of existing and making noise, huh? Input bus. Maintenance hatch, maintenance hatch, maintenance hatch. Let's start. Well, okay, let's build the coils first. We need 2 of them. We need 4 of them. So that's 4 magnetic iron rods and 16 fine steel wire. Fine steel wire is made with rods or ingots in a wire mill. Setting 3. So put the steel ingot, you get 8. We need 16, so that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 steel, 4 magnetic iron rods. A wire mill on setting 3. The iron rods, by comparison, will be made out of 4 iron. Technically, it's a 2-for-1 deal, but a lathe only builds 1 and then recycles in the form of half iron dust. Ectoplasm, mica can go into plates where they go. Ectoplasm can be put in here. That's where I put it. Eat our healing axe. Let's take a little bite out of it for sustenance. There is that. Move over to here. We've got a few iron rods, not all of them yet. Use of this in the assembling machine is for the low voltage coil, which is circuit setting 1. Conveniently already there. Okay, got the iron rods, put them in the polarizer, which is on the other side. There it is. Get out of my face tutorial. Okay, so that just tells you every single recipe that this particular machine can use. Put it in. That will get us our 4 coils, which shall then be used. Now it's just the lubricant. And that's a little bit concerning. We have some lubricant around, but it's only 280 liters. We need 4,000. Okay. Lubricant. Distillery. Raw oil, heavy oil, light oil, seed oil, fish oil, creosote oil. 25 to 8. So that's a conversion of about slightly less than 4. So if we want 1 bucket of lubricant, we need 4 buckets of creosote. And we need 4, so we need 16. I think that's more creosote than we have. Actually, no, it isn't. To the distillery. to the distillery. Okay, so creosote. Lubricant from creosote. How do we do it? Circuit setting 24. Suddenly, it's just occurred to me, I've just realized right now that I am going to finish this machine today. I won't be able to power it, but I'll be able to build it. It's exciting. Okay, lubricant. We're on setting 24. Take the creosote I have. I think we're going to need 16. 17 because there might be a bit of a rounding error. Who knows? Go. That's lubricant. While that's happening, I can forward over some more oxygen for the... Wait, can I? Yes, yes, yes. No medium voltage machine is being used right now. All right, that's going to take a bit. In the meantime, let's start building those final tools. And I will use iron for the tools simply because I have a lot of it on standby. So, what do we need? Maintenance patch. Soft mallet actually can't be made out of hammer or iron. Because if it's supposed to be a soft mallet, we're going to have to use rubber for that. I have rubber. I assure you I have rubber somewhere. Well, I have rubber sheets. That's kind of similar. I could also theoretically make it out of wood. There's a wood recipe. Yeah, just planks. Planks and a stick. Well, there's a stick. 2 sticks, actually. Here's some logs, which are some planks. Let's make a soft mallet. Soft mallet. Done. Put all our tools down here. We even have a screwdriver already that hasn't been used. What else? Hammer. Hammer's easy. Hammer. Next up. Maintenance. There we go. Okay, so. Screwdriver. Oh, that, okay. Okay. Hammer, check. Soft mallet, check. Screwdriver, check. Wrench. Check. I believe a file is 2 plates on a stick. So go to the bending machine, make that. File, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, more room. Need more room. In fact, if I can build a 3x3 area, I can pretend this is the machine. So, maintenance. Let's mark us in. Okay, so. Soft mallet, check. Hammer, check. File, check. Wrench, check. Screwdriver, check. We need a saw, a crowbar, and a wire cutter. I think the saw is the most complicated one because I don't remember it. A saw is a stick and a saw blade. A saw blade is a file down horizontal. And a spooky noise. Okay, it's filed down plates. Gotcha. Back to the vending machine we go. Here. Could it be that I am simply not allowed to... Oh, wait, there's another recipe. File and hammer. That did it. Good, good. Saw. Check. Saw's down here, right? Yes. Okay. Wire cutter. And... final look. Crowbar. Crowbar's the one. Wire cutter... Well, let's start with the crowbar, because the crowbar is very simple. Rod. Red. Red very specifically. Now, my crowbar is blue. That's because I'm cool. We got some red. We've got plenty of dye just around from our very early loot bag opening. I just have that dye. We used it a lot for rainbow curry and stuff. Not so much use for it anymore. And we could get some red from flowers or something. Maybe put water in a chemical bath. We can make red. Anything else? It's a hammer file diagonal. Don't want to use the materials we're using for the machine because I do not want them to be any a bit deteriorated. Pardon me for a second. Just, no particular reason for excusing myself from the premises. I, just felt like going out for a little stroll, just a nice little romp around the neighborhood. You know how it is. You know what? I must say that I am not experiencing any surprises or complications on my stroll around the neighborhood. Things are going exactly as intended or expected, as I understood. Everything is normal. Everything is very, very normal. Normal things are happening. They are decidedly normal and real and regular, and as expected, this is just the friendly stroll I am going on. You may remember me mentioning that. That's because that's what's happening. You're witnessing it. Cool. I am pleased to report that my friendly stroll has reached its conclusion, and we may soon resume the activities we were performing prior to that stroll. We can just, continue as we were. Doing all the good stuff, keeping up the good work. Just having a merry, good time. Everyone is cheerful and happy, and things are going as you expect. Things are going as I'd expect right now. You can bet on that. And here we are. I'm back from my stroll. Everything went fine. How are you? Oh, hey, what a coincidence. I don't hear the spider anymore. That's neat. Anyway, wire cutters. They're a little complicated. Some rods, some screws, some plates. I'm actually going to build them out of bronze because I just have a random bronze screw around. So let's just see the exact numbers. 2 rods, 3 plates. I can oblige. You know, when I was building that, I was worried it would be a very complicated mess, but I suppose now that I have all of these advanced processes, it's a bit easier now. So, rod, plate. Screw goes on the bottom. Then it's file, screwdriver, hammer, going clockwise. Wire cutters. It is now that we can build the final machine. 2. This is not the final machine, technically. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A maintenance hatch. Beep. Now it is just the power. That's contingent on the lubricant, which is half done. And as I expected, we need an extra topping off creosote. Think. Cool, so that will simply take time. In the meantime, we can build one of these. Wait, what? Oh! Oh, the tools are not expended when making the maintenance hatch. I mean, the crowbar is, but not the rest of them. Okay, so we can just make more maintenance. Okay, that's a lot easier than I was expecting. That's downright convenient. Now I got a bunch of free tools. Fantastic. Way to trick me into being prepared, game. I appreciate it. In that case, let me just... Oh, wait, why am I doing that when I can just do this? Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. The low voltage energy hatch, 1 of 2. Now I'm going to be powering this by the classic method of just a bunch of 4x red alloy cable. of which I seemingly have none. Now, I don't expect that to be much of a problem because I've got plenty of redstone. No. It's redstone alloy ingot. I have one, and I want one more. So, do the Shadow Realm with Yi. Set this to 4. Put 2 ingots in there. Then we'll wrap it up with a little bit of molten rubber. Here we are. Set that to 24. That is the wire coating setting. I simply remember that. Not every day that something requires circuit setting 24. So it's memorable. Okay. One will go here, one will go here. Obviously, there's going to be the second patch there. Then we can put like a battery buffer or even just the downstepper from the gas generator immediately. Fortunately, that redstone torch will have to be removed. That makes this dangerous, so we will instead put them on the outer sides instead of the inner corners. There, lighting is secure, we are safe, it's bright, the interior is super dark, but mobs can't spawn there anyway. So that's everything except for the last little bit, and that is merely waiting for the lubricant to be done. It'll get there eventually. I could technically use the other distillery, but it's currently full of wood tar, so don't want to bother that. Don't want to interfere. Actually really happy that I found a use for all that creosote. Not only do I have that in those cells, but way in the back behind the mob grinder, I just have a puddle of it awkwardly in the ground. Just move back here. Here it is, just a bunch of creosote that I saved for some reason. I suppose there is merit to keeping the coke ovens around, the regular coke ovens, if we are going to occasionally need lubricant or some other creosote byproduct, and I don't want to use oil. I've been doing a pretty good job avoiding oil so far. Like, as far as, like, general production use. Like, I could use the oil to make polyethylene, but I could use wood tar from wood. I do like renewable sources because they're not as efficient, they're not as fast, but they are automatable. And I like the automated nature of it. Like, I can just set it up. This will always just put logs in there, which will make the charcoal, which will make the benzene. I don't have to refuel it. I don't have to worry about getting a new source when an oil vein runs out or something. It's just there. Perpetual motion machine. Constant influx of materials. Straight out of the ground. Suppose I can put this back now. Think. There we are. Lubricant is almost at 1,000. It is about to be in 3, 2, 1. 2, 3, 2, 1. Mission accomplished. All right, we're halfway to halfway there. Well, we're on the back half side. We were halfway there. Now we're halfway even further. We're in the midst of Zeno's paradox, but on the receding end. Which is always fun. You ever watch, like, the tracker for an airplane? Like, you have some flight that you're emotionally invested in, go from point A to point B, and they give you that map with a little plane that draws its line. And you want to like find a way to make looking at it for the whole time interesting. So you like every time what I like to do, or just for maps and transit in general, is the icon, whatever it uses to denote the object transporting itself, whenever it's like fully, I will zoom in so that the destination is at one edge of the screen and the icon denoting the current position is completely out of frame. And I will wait until the icon moves in to frame until it's fully revealed, and then I will zoom in again so that it's no longer in frame. So the destination is always seen on one edge, and the other edge has like the plane or whatever vehicle, usually it's a plane, slowly moving in. So your mark to update it, to change your viewing position, to get slightly closer, is when that's done loading in, basically, when it slides into frame. And the benefit is that because the icon scales with the size of the screen, and obviously you zoom in, it means that it updates relatively quickly. Like waiting for your entire trip to finish the destination from point A to point B is going to be a long time, but for just that icon to move onto screen is comparatively a lot less. Depending on how far you're going, that could be a matter of minutes. And if you're not bored immediately, you can do it sort of partway through whenever you're impatiently waiting for point A to reach point B. So that happens relatively quickly. And every time you zoom in, you have the promise that the icon is moving slightly faster, ever so slightly. But it adds up. Eventually, when the airplane is right about to land or whatever, like you're like a mile out, that icon is moving on the screen like once every few seconds. So like every instant wait is like, it's not that long. You can wait that distance. But every wait, as you zoom in slightly, it is guaranteed to be shorter. It will get there sooner. It will go onto the screen sooner. Obviously, I'm approximating for flying in a straight line, but that's one of the advantages of an airplane. They typically fly in a straight line. There's a little bit of positioning and maneuvering when you gotta zoom in for a landing, but for the most part, this holds. And if you're going into like a swoop in for a landing, it's typically a shallow turn. So it's not that bad, and obviously you're probably close enough that you can actually see the airport. And then maybe you can be distracted by that instead. Maybe this would work good for like a boat. I haven't really watched many boat travels. Maybe I should like get really emotionally invested in the transportation of one boat from somewhere to somewhere else, and then watch that happen and do the same thing. As I understand it, boats have really good like tracking. You can look up the boat map of all the boats in the world. There are a lot of boats in the world. They're just chilling and they all have goofy names. It's great. Planes, there are a lot of planes in the world as well. You go onto like a general purpose flight tracker and you see all those planes. There's a lot of planes, but they don't have goofy names. You look at a boat, it could have a goofy name. It could have a regular name. People don't typically name plane. They're usually just like a designation or the license number for tracking purposes. But a boat, boats get names. Because like you think of like all the big famous airplanes that like commercial airplanes, the ones there are a lot of, and you don't talk about them in terms of the plane. You typically talk about the flight they had. Like if there was a plane crash, you're typically talking about the tragic crash of flight 122 or something, like Air Canada's flight 7 or something. Who knows? I'm making up numbers. But if you're talking about a boat, it's not going to be the flight it's flying. It's going to be the name of the boat. The Titanic, the other boats that I can think of. The Ever Given. Look, typically boats and airplanes become popular when they're the subject of a disaster or other inconvenience. That's just how it is. But there are good boats that are out there with goofy names, and you can't say the same about airplanes. Oh, I should probably stop the creosote from finishing its sacred mission. As I walk backwards, stubbornly colliding with what I assume is the arc furnace. And boop. Oh, I was a little too late. I walked into the arc furnace for a bit too long. That's awkward. We just have like spare lubricant in the machine. You might think that'd make it work better, but it actually just clogs it up. All right, here we go. Pyrolos oven in 3, 2, 1. Hold on, let me. And incomplete. Okay, pipe is loose, screws are loose, something is stuck. Okay, that's normal. That's normal problems. What's it saying about the structure being incomplete? Am I missing something? You know what? Okay, why are you considering yourself incomplete? I have everything over. Let's check the recipe. The pyrolysis oven. Pyrolysis. I mean, I guess get the recipe there. So look at the layers. Maintenance hatch, output bus, output hatch, energy hatch, casings across the side. And like any of these casings can be replaced with one of the tools. Layer 2, pure casings. Layer 3, pure casings. Layer 4, I didn't put. Oh, okay. As it turns out, the inputs must be on top. Okay, all right. That's fine. I expected that the inputs would be fine anywhere. And I wanted the hatch the muffler to be the only thing on the top. But apparently that does not work. Well, that's an easy fix. And it's really convenient that I figured that out was the problem. So that does mean we are going to have to do some awkward piping, and operating this machine manually is probably going to be less of an option for us. Fortunately, we don't really need to care all too much. After all, this should just be a simple case of logs in, charcoal, and wood gas out. So, input hatch, swap out the casings. Hey! Fantastic. And for all of those problems that this machine is complaining about, I vote we circumvent the issue entirely by using what I have saved for just such an occasion somewhere. It's somewhere. I assure you of that much. I'm gonna be forced to reveal my hand a little early here. I was trying to build up the dramatic tension. I do have some tape somewhere. I don't remember where I put it, but I do have a spare. I won it in a prize somewhere for some reason. And I'm going to use it to just solve all the problem. There it is. There it is. Brain Tech. Aerospace Advanced Reinforced Duct Tape FAL 84. We're almost capable of making it. The only ingredient we're missing is, yeah, and I got it from the loot bag from tier 2. That's normal. The only thing we're missing is, well, okay, we require glue, but rubber sheet, and we need raw carbon mesh. Raw carbon mesh is made in maybe a blast furnace. Could be an assembler with raw carbon fiber, which needs an autoclave of carbon dust and polyethylene. So we are building the machine that will let us make the thing to make that. We'll build a low voltage autoclave. We'll make the carbon fiber. We'll put the carbon fiber in the assembler to make the mesh, and then we can just make all the tape we need. So, running fine. The pyrolysis oven is complete. Now we need power, but yeah, that's an easy problem. Break down this wall, pipe in some benzene into a thing. In fact, we could make that right now. We could just temporarily cancel everything we're doing with this advanced gas turbine, swap this basic turbine, put it here. The transformer would have to come with us as well. That's just a matter of thing. And then just run this part on battery power for a little bit. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Let's power this machine. First demonstrated purpose. Bronze fluid pipe will probably need a little more to just reach the distance. So, transformer, gas generator, pipe. So we start the pipe here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. Okay. We've got spare bronze. We can do that. Meanwhile, we must come to the unfortunate realization that this door must be moved in and this area of the factory must become canonically a part of the factory. Not too big of a problem. This door was and always will be just sort of an awkward pass the problem down device. There we are. Light up this little maintenance tunnel we have here. That might be a bit more of a problem. This is technically it is an unsecured entrance into our factory. So easy access to the cave above is lost due to my adherence to a safe and sterile working environment. So be it. Easier way of doing this. Nice. Okay. What was I doing? Ah, yes. The bending machine should be done. We want our small pipe, and I believe that is, I think normal pipe is wrench on the left. So wrench on the left, hammer on the right would make that's normal. This is tiny. So now we need to explore this. That's large. That's small. And that's 6 of them. That gets us to 1 short, awkwardly. That is technically fixable, but it's kind of a hack. I would like a standardized system. So I will just Concede, make another one. Oh, we'll need that cobblestone. While that's happening, let's start excavating. If we start here, maybe I should do like what real pipe experts do and have some like markings to denote where pipes are flowing under. Like when you have a building or a sidewalk and they're like, hey, there's the pipes be down here. I think that'd be probably respectful to my needs as a future maintenance person. Because, like, if it's just me here, I'm doing the construction right now, but eventually I will also be doing the maintenance. You gotta be respectful to your future self, because your future self will not understand what the heck you are doing. As someone who has dabbled in programming to a considerable degree, I know that feeling well. You look at something you did before, and it was like, who the heck built this pile of garbage? But it was you. Always a fun time when your future self code reviews your past self. All right, time to unceremony. Yeah. If I want to just do this, then I need to just do this. Okay, bolt. Bolt that in. That is the 4 voltage side. Put this in. Output there. That should be power. Now, wood gas is our output of choice. Pyrolos oven wants it on... Well, we're using spruce wood specifically. Spruce log in a pyrolysis oven, if you please. There it is. Wood gas, wood tar, charcoal byproducts, wood vinegar, creosote oil, wood gas. Wait, there are multiple recipes for wood gas. Ah, this one takes in nitrogen to boost the process, I assume. Creosote. So we are not using the boosted version. Oh, we can make... Well, okay, we can't because we need high voltage, but we can make oil out of logs. That makes complete sense, but I'm amazed. That means we could do oil processing and get it, but that's kind of roundabout. If we can make it directly, let's make it directly. We want circuit setting 5. We put that in on the input. Put in 5. Thank you very much. I'm not really sure what these mean in terms of options. They showed up in 2.3.6, and I'm a little confused by them. Anyway, we will make a one stack of spruce wood because it's 16 each, so this should make us 6,000. Oops. All right. Let's see it. Setting 5. Hit with salt melt to start the machine if it doesn't start, or I can just press this button. Processing. It's going. All right, so it takes 64 seconds to turn 16 logs into 20 charcoal. The advanced coke oven will continue to be our source of benzene primarily, but the charcoal from here can be used for something. Maybe steam power, I don't know. Could just funnel in the wood tar, make a second benzene production line, and just dump it into the same tank. More importantly, yep, that's going good. That's just running. This is just running. This is refilling. It's already full. Ah, this is refilling. Okay. And it is filling faster than it's depleting. That's an excellent sign. We're not overusing our fuel. Right, right. Medium voltage energy patch needs the ultra low power IC, which requires wafers, which requires laser engraving a wafer. The laser engraver is already a weird piece of technology I'm not familiar with. The wafer, however, requires a cutting machine to cut monocrystalline silicon buells, and that needs silicon solar grade and small gallium arsenide crystal, which are both things I can technically make, but are tough. Also, this is extremely expensive energy-wise. 1 million. 450 seconds. I don't even know if I can maintain the machine for that long. What's our battery storage capacity? Well, to be honest, it is 1 million. So that is actually very well within our grasp. But there are a few required technologies and production that we do not have for that. And I won't push it. A low voltage transformer and a second low voltage energy hatch is certainly a much simpler solution. Probably even cheaper. And since this is powered exclusively by this, we don't need to worry about anything else. No power, no voltage, no nothing. In fact, the only reason that... Oh. Oh, you know what? I probably should have done that from the start. Well, no, I couldn't. I would need another gas generator. I definitely think the next generation of gas generator that we make, the one to replace here, I could just swap that to there, but who knows. Actually, I will need to swap that to there in order to power these machines for any reasonable amount of time, because I need more advanced circuits to make more generators and all that stuff. Great. More importantly, gas generator here, low voltage transformer nearby to power the blast furnace dedicated. Because if you have one gas generator at medium voltage powering this thing dedicated at like the power supplies we're using right now, I will never have to worry about power for this thing ever again unless I run out of benzene. There's appeal there. Yeah. More power. Like, gas generator dedicated to this. Gas generator dedicated to the arc furnace. Gas generator dedicated to all the low voltage machines that we use manually. Gas generator to power, like, a whole bunch of macerators or something, I don't know, for ore processing. Just the future, I can see it. I can see the design. The design is forming. And at the center of it all, we've got wood gas. Another medium voltage distillery to turn that into polyethylene, and we are set for things and stuff and actions. I already made one advanced distillery. I can certainly make another somehow. Okay. The future's looking good. I see it. We got power. We got options. We got hope. We got good things. Little internal struggle over whether we want the oxygen to just be produced automatically forever, it would fill up all of our cells. But if we have an uncanning system to put it into a tank, that might be for the best. Also, 80 charcoal. I don't have a use for this. This thing is full. Electrolyze it, put in the arc furnace, turn it into dust. I don't know. That's not my problem. We're done. We built that machine, and that is great progress. I will see you. Okay, so the August inconvenience has solidified into specific dates and times. I know exactly when I won't be here, and I know vaguely when I'll be back, but I will not be ready to stream immediately upon getting back. Do not expect another stream in August. You might get like one or two, maybe right near the end, but do not expect another stream in August. I'll be back in full in September. I'm gonna go. See you there. I'm Exception. This isn't TV. Have a good day and good night.